Welcome to the level 200 training of the Rollup 31.2 and Rollup 32 from HubDrive. Yesterday we took a bit of a more less technical view, let's say, the view of an HR user, where we spoke very generally of the new functionalities that the short Rollup 31.2 and the bigger Rollup 32 introduced this time. And today, as the level 200 of the training, we are going to look at the view of an admin or implementation partner, where we take a more technical overview of the functionalities. And also we are going to teach you how to do some of the customizing steps that might be useful after you test and update the solution to the new rollups. So like I said, today the mindset is more of an IT user. For this reason, we are focusing more on the customizing and technical adjustments that Rollup 32 and Rollup 31.2 might involve. I remind you that the Rollup 31.2 mostly focuses on the dialog replacement due to the Microsoft deprecation of the process dialogues, while the Rollup 32 adds some more functionalities on the time and attendance module on our solution. The agenda will be rather similar. However, we are going to take a different focus on each one of the topics. Like I said, a more technical focus on each one of the functionalities. As usual, feel free to ask your questions by raising the hand. We are monitoring the chat very closely. So every time you have a question, we will make sure to give you an answer as soon as we can. For those who were not present yesterday, let's just summarize or enhance a little bit more on the reason for the double release. This time, like I said, Microsoft is removing the function of the process dialogues as part of its conversion. Therefore, we took the chance and took the, let's say, opportunity right now to update our solution in a way that you don't lose any of the functionalities that were there before. So we added our own technology in there, as well as the flow technology, if you will, for the replacement of those dialogues. Once again, for those that didn't see this last time.
For those of you who didn't see that yesterday, the reason why we want to publish 2 roll-ups is to give you as a partner the chance that even in these troubled times before Christmas, you still can import Rollup 31.2 because it's completely based on Rollup 31, which is in most cases already published to your customer systems. So this is tested. The only thing which we added to Rollup 31 have been the dialog replacements, so that you and your customer systems are ready to use that functionality still after the 8th of January, after Microsoft updated the system to the new interface, but also to the deprecation of the dialogues. Still, we want to publish Rollup 32 also in December, on the 15th of December. This means that Rollup 32 will contain completely and inherited completely Rollup 31.2, but also have new features in there which we showed you yesterday, which will most likely not focus that much today on, but we will focus a lot on the dialog replacement. So Rollup 31.2 is already in the, as you can see, it was published 30th of November, so it's already in the customer portal. I guess every one of you know where the customer portal is and how to get there. Also this secret password everyone is aware of. So this is what you already get. It can implement it. It is well tested. Final release. I can definitely recommend it to update to Rollup 31.2 as soon as possible and not push it too long down the road. Rollup 32 right now has release candidate status. So 30th of November, the release candidate was published, and it's published and available in the Partner Hub. So please log on the Partner Hub, install it to test system, give us feedback. Then we most likely will have a final release on the 15th of December. The final release, of course, is depending on your feedback as well. If we might have to push it, if you have so much good ideas, or if you even find smaller flaws in that solution, that we can still improve this. We use two different technology to replace the dialogues. One of the technology we already implemented in Rollup 31, which is Power Automate. Inside of the departments, you are able to roll out and carry forward leaf entitled for the next year or years. This is done by Power Automate, as we have to consider multiple records, even possible the whole company, as if you choose a top department, it inherits the functionality and rolls out for the whole department. So this is why we use Power Automate there. For all the other dialogues, we use our own technology. As mentioned yesterday, this is a web resource which is triggered as a PCF. How to update? As you also saw yesterday, that some of the dialog replacements are triggered on the form. For example, the change of department is triggered on the digital personal file. It used to be always in the ribbon, now it's directly on the form. The same goes for on and offboarding, or for leave summaries. If you want to add a new entitlement, you can add this entitlement, but you are doing it not from the ribbon any longer. You will do it directly from the section of the leave summaries, and you can choose it from here. Considering updates, this can provoke a possible problem or a possible outcome. But furthermore, it gives you the advantage to talk to your customers again. Where do they want to have these buttons? How their customizations look, etc. Starting from an original hub drive form from a rollup beneath 31.2, these buttons haven't been there. So if you then customize the form, for example, you customize the digital personal file. Also, the buttons to trigger the dialog replacement will not be on your customized form, as they haven't existing before. Then you update our solution before you would export the your customization. Then you update our solution, and at this point in time, the dialogs replacement are on that form. Why? Our package deployer is merging the forms, meaning that if you haven't removed the whole section, if you haven't change too much on the form, which would prevent a merging of those two forms. At this point in time, you will get not the green form of ours, but your customized form with the added buttons of the dialog replacements. So most likely at this point in time, right after the update to Rollup 31.2 or higher, you will see these buttons even on your customized form. This is why, since yesterday, we added this exclamation mark. Please check if those buttons are there, if the dialogues can be triggered from your form. Only if they are not appearing, we have to add them manually. That you know which dialogues we are talking about, we will add them manually in a minute. We give you a list. This list will be also part of the release candidate. And let's quickly go through it. We have the modify leave request. We have the add leave request, the replace of active employment terms, the change of department. You see also in which navigation pane, in which app area it is, and also where the placement is now or is supposed to be. The copy of wages, the generate rate of payments is still on the wage section, still in the ribbon. The extent wages is also on the wages. You can find the parsing of CV is now an application on the application tab in the section of documents. That's new. Sing and Stepstone integration auto-identification remains in the ribbon of the recruiting channels. The recalculate of leave entities can now only be done by the hub drive support, as it's no longer recommended to do so. Remember, it used to be on the XRM1 cache. It is no longer. So please contact our support if you need immediate recalculation of all leave entities. The recalculate of payments, payment summary is still on the payment summary WeWork template project. This is, as you all know, in our onboarding module. You create a template, and if you want to rework it after you published it once, there used to be a dialog, and now it's still a dialog. No, not a dialog, a button with the functionality in there, and you can find it on the onboarding tab summary below field status reason. And the four flows which we are using for the carried forward and rollup, you can find on the department section in the settings area, or on the employee directly if you want to do it individually for each employee. Let me check if we have any questions. Okay, thank you, Eric, for providing a list of all new placements. Let's talk about the case that one of these dialogues is not there because your form prevented it, or maybe something went wrong, or an example which we are doing right now is you want to give the dialogue or the functionality of the dialogue, for example, the change of departments to the supervisor. So you maybe want to add this to the supervisor form, if you want. And this is the example which we are doing now. We will add the change department on the supervisor form as it is not there. Talking from this or coming from the system, what we do want is for Abel Tanya, this functionality that we can change the department. Tanya is moving to the US now. Yeah, that we change the department, that we have this dialog also, oh, that worked well, also on the supervisor file. So our goal as an example now is to add the dialog to a different form. To do so, we are just going directly to the customizing section. If you have an unmanaged solution in a staging system, please do it there, create and publish it then to the production system as you are used to. I'm going the old way right now. You can also do the same way if you go via the Power App functionality. You're all well-equipped customizers. So I think you know your way around there. So going to the customizing section, I open the customizing section and there you go. Probably it's a bit too small, so I will zoom in. Okay. And let's go to the employee. On the employees, we have different forms. Keep in mind the different solution layers. Just open the digital personal file and you see in here the field change department. The change department, the button itself, this one, this one, is just, if you will, an empty text field in the start. So what you are doing concerning customizing is you are adding an empty text field. Of course, as they are already part of our solution, you don't have to create a new one. You can just use the existing one. But keep in mind, if you have own custom dialogues and you want to create your own or you want to replace your own custom dialogues with the same functionality, it will be possible by you. We will make sure that the technology is reusable by you. To make it visible on the form, please create a normal text field. I can show you, this is just a normal text field. Yeah, it is optional, searchable. It's a single line, simple text field. Normal length is 100, and that's it. Please make sure that you are not displaying the label on the form, as this will be handled by the PCF later. And we will have controls, and you already see that the XARM1 dialog component is an own created PCF from our end. So this text field, which is already on the DPF, on the digital personal file, we want also to make available on the supervisor file. So if I go here, open this thing, I know this section is called Change Department. So what I'm doing now is I'm unticking only showed unused field because I want to see all. Scroll down here and I will find that field, which I can move directly to where I want it. And hope that the drag and drop is working. There you go. Now I catched it and I put it there and there. Double click to open it. Change department as mentioned. Please don't display the label name. And in the next step, go to controls. Add a control. And this control is named XRM1 dialog component. So let's go down to the last section. This one, and edit. You want to make sure that it's available on all the devices you want it to be available, but as this is just a proxy text field which has no further use, you most likely want to have it available on all the different device types. Then we have a placeholder down here, and we have a web resource which needs to be configured and the name of translation option set. This both is important. Web resource we will fill in now. This is a web resource we are calling. The name of the translation will be an option set, and it allows us to have this label, all the fields, so everything translated which is on the form and what you can see once you trigger the dialog. Let's go and choose the web resource. For this, I go to the web resources. And look for the name. It's a JSON file. Department. There you go. Copy this name, right?
No, this is not. You should copy the name, not a display name.
Choose single line of context, paste it in there, and hit OK. The next one is name of translation of the option set. So for this, we will go back here to the option sets. And the option set name is?
Yeah, you can search again. So again, sort by name descending. And now there should be the option set named for the dialog.
Does it start with dialog?
Yeah, and we're already preparing a list for all the possible global option sets.
There you go. So, translation of change department. Copy this line, correct?
Yes.
And paste it in here. Hit OK. Double check, we have the placeholder ready, we have the web resource ready, we have the name ready. We click OK. We save the form. And of course, make sure we publish everything. Okay, and after it's published, we are going back to the supervisor file. And we have the change department in there. Yeah. So the steps, again, this will be all written down, and also you never have to look for the web resource, as we will publish a table for you where the web resource name itself is in there, as well as option set, which makes it easier. So you just need to add the empty field, you just need to go and add the PCF control, and then copy pasting 2 lines in there, hit save, hit published, and it is there. So not too much work to customize it in the end again. Do you have any questions about the technology, about how to customize it before we would move on? Okay, not the case so far. Okay, then let's move on. To something I wanted to explain from yesterday, as it has been somewhat unclear what the threshold meant. Maybe I was well, not clear or not structured enough yesterday. We introduced with Rollup 32 new time accounts. These time accounts will enable you to configure the creation of the leave entitlement based on the daily summaries, based on conditions you can configure. For example, you can define each field on the digital personal file to go and create a leave entitlement, but you can say, okay, overtime might be the field, that the first 10 minutes of the overtime shouldn't get or shouldn't lead in the creation of a leave entitlement. And there might be something in the employment terms that 10% of overtime or 10% of work time, if is on overtime, will be expected, for example. Therefore, you can define, if you have 1 hour overtime, for example, that you can define the threshold that the first 10 minutes of that overtime are not considered. Therefore, even though the field on the daily summary shows 1 hour, only 50 minutes will be created as a leave entitlement. This threshold can be defined on a daily base, on a weekly base, and on a monthly base. We wanted, and we promised you yesterday that we wanted to show you the error messages on that test. One of the fixes which we did with Rollup 31.2 is that now the automatically logout, if an employee forgets to punch out, is again created at 23:59 or 11:59. This is back in, and till now we always created the error messages out of the box and put them into the description field. However, we are now introducing new absence or new error messages which are based on an option set. So the option set which we will introduce contains values for different error happening in the system. As we didn't want to show you the option set, we brought the Excel file instead. which will also be given to you. You see we have the English, German and French translation, each option set, and they are on the attendance details and on the daily summary. So we already have, if an employee signs out too late for his shift, there is an attendance detail created and the message will be timestamp outside of shifts. As this is an option set, and we pull this timestamp out of shift from the option set, you are now able to customize the error messages or the messages which are filled in the description set by just changing and adapting the option set and its translations. Was requested by 2 customers actually, which we now implemented. Back in is the employee forgets to time out, so the English message will be no stamp out in the future, Mitarbeiter hat nicht ausgestempelt, or l'employé n'est pas plat de compter. Yeah, my French could be better. Employees work more than the maximum total hours, so you defined in your attendance configuration that 10 hours is a maximum work hours each day, or 12, 15, whatever you like. You will now get the error message exceeding max work hours in the description field, which you can see. So, the good news is we are pulling it also from the option set, even though we did this before with the plugin that we set the error messages, is that you can create and distinguish your own error messages, and also as it is pulled from the option set, the labeling, the format is always the same, so you can run reports on it as well. Added to Rollup 32 are 2 no error messages, but they are not added on the attendance detail, but on the daily summary. This is employee is working despite of being on leave. So if an employee has a vacation for a whole day and is still working, this is not a problem for our overtime calculation. I mean, most of us know this. We are on vacation and something important comes up, so we open the laptop for 2 hours. It is okay to work these 2 hours, but some companies want to prevent this with a good reason, because vacations are vacation and not work. That the daily summary will now have a message in the description field timestamp during the leave, and you can run a workflow on it, or you can have a dashboard on it, which allows you to find those employees who don't enjoy their vacation enough to have it there. Also added to Rollup 32 is if an employee has allocated hours but did not do any time bookings for that day. So if the allocated hours are over 0, above 0, and absences and attendance hours are 0, you will get an error message of no timestamp despite allocated hours. This is especially important if you have configured overtime calculation, that they would get minuses. They will get minus overtime hour if they have allocated hours but have no attendance or absence hours. To make sure to find these records on a fast and sufficient way, we added this description. Any questions where we can find the descriptions, how does it work, etc. from your end?
Doesn't look like it.
No, let's continue then. One thing which we skipped yesterday was customer who have team member licenses via hub drive. And this is another enforcement from Microsoft. It's a license enforcement on the team member type, meaning that you're not allowed to use any apps, no custom apps, with a team member license if this is not an official Microsoft team member app. It's also limiting you to have 15 right entities for those employees inside this app, or no, but you have unlimited reading rights. We created an app which is only for team member app sufficient. You can find this in the customer login, and your customers who have a team member app, where we are the CSP, so you are an indirect reseller, will be able to download this app and use this. Our HR Hub employee self-service, our HR Hub manager self-service apps will not be or will not work with team member licenses from the 4th of January, if you are in the US, from the 21st of January. But this app is. So please go to our customer login, click on the solution download, go to online, HR for Dynamics Online, and you will find an app down here, which is an add-on managed solution, and this will be sufficient to use with team members. The duration of leave request improvements. Yesterday we said the 2 years or more years are now possible. This is absolutely right, and it will also, maybe yesterday we forgot to consider that you run out or roll out leave entitlements for the future, that this will automatically recalculate those leave requests which are across multiple years of 2 or more, so that you can make sure that you're not getting minus leave entitlements for that absence type. Okay. Again, solved customer tickets. We will not go through the list, but as yesterday promised, there will be a more detailed list part of the release notes. Also, there will be more cases solved in Rollup 32. These cases you see right here are solved already in Rollup 31.2. This was the content of today. We wanted to show you how to add the dialog replacement manually to your customized form. And this was a main goal. Hope everything was all right there, you did understand it, and if not, please come back to us. If you have any questions, please come forward.